I'm Steve Morgan, founder of Cybersecurity Ventures and host of Evolution Equity TV. Joining me is Hillary McClure, Vice President of Multimedia Production at Cybercrime Magazine. Our coverage of the Black Hat 2022 conference in Las Vegas is brought to you by Evolution Equity Partners, an international venture capital investor partnering with exceptional entrepreneurs to develop market-leading cybersecurity and enterprise software companies. Visit evolutionequity.com to learn more. Hillary, great to have you with us today.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So, Hillary, the past year, really the past 2 years, people are asking us, when is RSA coming back? When is Black Hat coming back? And they're talking about in person. They're so eager to get out there. You were at both of the events, RSA in San Francisco, and then last week you were at Black Hat in Las Vegas. So it's one of the biggies. Tell us, what was it like there? Has it fully bounced back? Were the people excited to be at an in-person conference?
Yeah, sure. So it was my first time at both conferences because when I started with Cybercrime Magazine and Cybersecurity Ventures, it was middle of quarantine, of lockdown. And from what I understand, RSA had pretty much bounced back. I think when I was there this year, it was about 50 to 70,000 people. And the Moscone Center is huge, right? There's north, south, east, west, all the different buildings. It was kind of nice to see everyone out and about together talking. And some people wore masks, some didn't. It seemed like everyone was very ready to be in person again, for sure. And Black Hat, from what I understand, this year was smaller than years past, but I wouldn't have known. It still was decent size, and everyone was really excited to speak with each other, even though we'd all just seen each other a month and a half earlier. Everybody was like, I think, just so starved for that in-person connection. So it was very busy. There were a ton of really interesting talks at both conferences, but Black Hat especially had a lot of interesting vulnerabilities being displayed for different companies that were there. Hopefully those companies were made aware before the vulnerabilities were shared. But everyone seemed very excited, and it was great to meet people that I'd been speaking with for years now on our podcast, Cybercrime Radio. So it was just fun to put faces to names and to voices.
So I want to ask you about some of the hot companies that were at Black Hat. I know we can only talk about so many. You were very busy there, but let's start with Talon Cybersecurity. When we were at the RSA conference in San Francisco, they were named the most innovative startup, very hot company. Earlier this month, they announced a $100 million Series A funding that was led by Evolution Equity Partners. What were your impressions of the company?
Yeah, so I spoke with their CEO and founder, Ofer Ben-Nun, who was so excited and I think humbled by their success in securing their $100 million in their Series A funding and winning at RSA for innovation, and for the crazy growth that they've experienced. And as I was speaking with him, so many people were stopping by the booth. They were in the Innovation Center section of the expo at Black Hat. And so many people, I would say maybe like 5, 6, maybe 7, would stop in and be like, hey, congratulations. It's excellent to see you guys growing so quickly. What you're offering to folks is so important as far as like secure browser and all of that, designed to, manage unmanaged and managed devices, especially with everything we experienced with remote working. And he was just, thanking them all. And, it was a little annoying because they were interrupting our filming, but it was nice that he was, having folks go up to him and share that with him, whether they were customers or not. I think everyone was just excited about their success.
Let's hear what the CEO at Talon Cybersecurity had to say at Black Hat.
We are the first secure enterprise browser, which is developing a browser that allows the employees to work from any place, any device in the world, accessing any web application, if it's on-premise or SaaS-based application, in a secure and efficient way. So it could be corporate devices, it could be contractors, bring your own PCs, third-party devices, so pretty much any device that needs access into the corporate infrastructure will be able to connect, and everybody can work freely like they used to and like to work.
Let me ask you about Pantera. They're an interesting company. You know, there are some companies that we see in the media a lot, and they're definitely one of them. But Pantera is a company that a lot of CISOs are asking us about and cybersecurity leaders. So they really come up in conversation quite a bit. Earlier this year, they raised a $150 million funding round. That was also with participation from Evolution Equity Partners. Who did you meet with from Pantera at Black Hat, and what were they showing off?
So I met with Amitai Ratsan, who is their CEO. I think he's been CEO since 2018. So it's a good amount of time. And they were showing off, so their automated security validation and their, I guess, slogan, whether it's a campaign they have outside of Black Hat or not, was "We're in your corner." And so they had a really cool event set, which was like a boxing ring. And I think, I didn't get to see this, and one of my teammates might have actually filmed one, but I think every half hour, one of the other booths told me. I don't know if it was just between Pantera employees or whatever, but I mean, it's Vegas, right? And fights are, you know, bread and butter there. So it was a good strategy, but also to demonstrate to folks that they're in their, you know, your corner, they're here to fight for you and without whatever your needs are. And Amitai was just really excited to speak about what they have going on right now and what's upcoming, because I think they have a lot of exciting news that they're working on planning and releasing further down this year as well as into next.
So here's what Pantera's CEO had to say at the Black Hat conference.
We just came up actually this week with a whole new exciting module that we refer to as credentials exposure that takes threat intel to a whole new level, taking credentials that ever leaked from a company, integrating those into Pantera, into the product, trying to log in to all applications that the company has using those leaked credentials to actually show the company what the adversary could do by abusing some darknet information, and we kind of give it back to the company that might be affected by like that theft of credentials. So we're very proud about that, and we're kind of launching new modules, new products in a cadence of every 3 to 4 months.
So there's a lot of, hot new startups at these events, but then one of the companies who are tracking a security scorecard, they've been around for several years now. They've been growing very quickly. They're a unicorn, another one of Evolution Equity's portfolio companies. They raised $150 million in their Series E funding last year. What were your impressions of them at Black Hat this year?
Yeah, they had a great footprint there and a great presence as well. So I met with Simon Hunt, who's their chief product officer, and he was just talking to me about their product, right, which is getting folks those security ratings, and those have become so necessary for companies now, especially with all the attacks that everyone is experiencing and, showing their cyber resilience. And we talked about risk and, should you still continue to work with a third-party company, even though perhaps they are riskier, and how do you go about that? But as we were speaking, his teammates were, they had a few different stations going on with, product demos and just fielding questions that security leaders had for them as far as their ratings go or whatever else, that they're subscribing to. But there was a lot going on. It was very a buzz, and they had a presentation happening maybe 10 minutes from when I started speaking with Simon. So we all had to clear out very quickly because they had a lot of folks also waiting to attend the talk, which was really great to see, of course.
Let's hear from Simon Hunt at Security Scorecard.
So we have 2 new launches we're announcing this week, or have promoting this week in Black Hat. One is what we call advanced vendor detection, where we're able to surface and automatically find all the vendors companies do business with. It's quite common that you do business with people, you interact with them, you have contracts, you exchange emails, and you don't have that comprehensive list of who you're doing business with. We're able to surface that and help you understand the risk there. And we're also, for the first time, promoting our threat intelligence, the data that underlies every decision we make. We have a full system now which exposes that and lets our customers navigate and mine that, which is really important when you're trying to understand your own risk. Getting access to that detailed source information by your threat intelligence teams is a real business enabler and a real accelerator in controlling the risk you have of your own environment.
So the zero trust space is hot. A lot of companies are branding themselves around that. Truefort bills themselves as the zero trust application protection company. That's a mouthful, but it says a lot. We've been following them closely since they raised their $30 million Series B funding, and that was around this time last year. And you met up with them as well. So tell us a little bit about Truefort.
Yeah, so I met up with Samir Malhotra, who was their CEO, and zero trust segmentation. And so it was just great to speak with him because he was in the financial industry before he co-founded Truefort. He was seeing all of these issues happening in financial services, and he thought, there must be a better way that we can do this so that this isn't happening to companies and organizations. And so he co-founded Truefort, and he was just really excited to speak about that. He also shared a couple of great use cases and user testimonials, which is always wonderful to hear, of course. So it sounds like they're really helping folks in that space, which can be a little confusing as far as zero trust goes, because it is certainly a buzzword we hear thrown around a lot in general, but especially at conferences.
Let's check in with the CEO at Truefort on the exhibit floor.
So right now what we see in the environment is that many enterprise customers have applications that are on-prem, hybrid, and in the cloud. And they need a single way of protecting those applications. Truefort provides a unique capability not only with our native agent, but on third-party agents like CrowdStrike, the ability to understand, detect, and protect against threats. Also the ability to push controls like microsegmentation directly on our agent or CrowdStrike with zero installation of software.
Well, I have to admit, I definitely take these conferences for granted. We got hit with COVID. We pivoted as a media company. We shifted to virtual because we just weren't going to RSA and Black Hat for the past couple of years. But at least a half a dozen companies sent emails to us, and they were so excited to meet with you at RSA and now at Black Hat, and they want that in person. I think it's just so important for people. So, and any closing thoughts you have, Hillary, about the events and Black Hat in particular?
It was just really, like I said, it was so fun to meet folks, especially folks that I've spoken with over the past few years. I will say, and I forgot to say this during our Pantera segment, but Pantera threw a really great after party. I think they threw it as a joint effort with PlexTrack, and PlexTrack, they had a DeLorean at RSA, but they threw a really great after party at this place called Illuminarium, which had like a space theme, so like cyberspace into deep space. It was cool. So that was even more fun, right? Because it's like we get to continue the fun. It is really nice to have that forum to have that conversation with each other.
All right. Well, Hillary, thank you for checking in with us, and we'll have you come back on for a recap after the next event.
That sounds great. Thank you, Steve.
I'm Steve Morgan, founder of Cybersecurity Ventures and host of Evolution Equity TV. Our coverage of the Black Hat 2022 conference in Las Vegas is brought to you by Evolution Equity Partners, an international venture capital investor partnering with exceptional entrepreneurs to develop market-leading cybersecurity and enterprise software companies. Visit evolutionequity.com to learn more. You can keep up with all of our media at cybercrimemagazine.com.